According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible.
Wait, hold on just 1 minute. Gosma might be black and yellow, but they are not a bee. They're actually a moth. Ga means moth in Japanese, and Zuma comes from Inazuma, the Japanese word for thunderstrike. Sorry, Barry B. Benson. If you want a real bee, there's Chubby. Hi, Tamers. Today, we'll be talking about Gosma. They're a really great tem with a lot of support abilities, great defensive typing, and surprisingly high damage potential if built for it. There's a lot to cover in this video, so let's jump right into it. Gosma is the only wind and electric tem. This typing is amazing because defensively they're only weak to crystal and their offensive coverage is really unique as well. Their two traits are Receptive and Fast Charge. Receptive increases the duration of positive status conditions by 1, and Fast Charge gives +2 speed to the first digital tem that enters the battle with Gosma each game. There are a couple other tems in the game that have these traits, but as far as Fast Charge goes, Gosma is the only fully evolved and non-digital tem that gets it. Nice. Moving on to Gosma's Learn set, they get a variety of great techniques. Sparks lets them function as a support for other special attackers on your team, or a setup sweeper themselves. I think a lot of newer players see Sparks and think, it's only +1 special attack, that's not very good compared to things like Heat Up and Madness buff, but the power of Sparks really shines in a double battle format, because of its ability to apply to the user's partner, and attack on the same turn. If you look at it like that, Sparks buffing your partner with +1 actually has higher damage potential over 2 turns than self-buffing with Heat Up and M-buff. So Sparks is very good as long as you can set the user to outspeed whatever tem they're buffing. Gosma recently received the Tornado technique from the Saponku patch, which gives them a very threatening wind stab move after 1 turn of hold. It can be difficult to switch in against Gosma when it has Tornado up, because the only types that resist wind are wind and electric, and wind tems don't want to come in because they're threatened by Gosma's electric moves as well. Speaking of electric moves, Gosma has access to Tesla Prison, which is a supportive move that lowers the speed of enemy threats, and Electric Storm, which deals pretty good damage for a team-wide move. Gosma also learns other utility moves, like Cage and Turbo Choreography. Overall, Gosma can learn a lot of support techniques, but its only real damaging moves are Electric Storm and Tornado, which each have a hold. But that synergizes great with Gosma's ability to Sparks itself on turn 1. And finally, let's take a look at Gosma's base stats. Their HP and defense are a bit low, but they're well equipped on the special side of things, being surprisingly bulky and boasting good damage potential. All the while, their speed is in a good spot and their stamina is about average. With Gosma's trait, learn set, and stats in mind, I recommend building them as a bulky Sparks support or a fast special attacker. So let's put everything together into a proper build for Gosma. For trait choice, I am a fast charge enjoyer. Just watch any of my Zalbian PvP videos and you will see how valuable this trait can be on a digital team. +2 speed is so incredibly threatening, especially since it goes on digital tems which aren't resisted by any types. Receptive can be pretty good on a special attacking core Gosma, because it makes them easier to support. They can get additional turns of status from gear like Fakebeard, Chamomile, and Reactive Vial, and supports that apply conditions to their ally, like Nidrasil, 0B10, and Bamboozle users. I think all things considered, Fast Charge is more useful than Receptive on a support Gosma, as long as you're running a single digital tem on your team. You could just slap a Hedgen or 0B10 on any team with a Fast Charge Gosma and it's instant value. You don't have to play a digital focused team to get some use out of Fast Charge because it only applies once per game anyway. But if you aren't running any digital tems on your team, of course you'll have to run Receptive. Next, let's talk about moveset. No matter what playstyle you're going for, you should always run Sparks. Like I said before, it's amazing for boosting the damage of Gosma's partner and great for setting up Gosma themselves for a turn 2 Electric Storm or Tornado. On that note, I also recommend running Tornado on every build. It's just such a good technique. It's high priority, and its high base damage makes it threatening even if you aren't invested in special attack. For your third move, you should run an Electric Stab move, either Tesla Prison on a support Gosma or Electric Storm on a core Gosma. Of course, the damage on Tesla Prison isn't great, but its real value comes from the speed reduction it applies, and it's at least strong enough to 3 or 4 hit KO most tems weak to it. For your fourth slot, pick a utility move. Cage is great, Turbo Choreography is okay if your team needs speed boosts, especially if you have more wind Tems on your team. And there's also a technique called Turbocharge, which is comparable to Cheer Up, but it's very stamina expensive. You can get creative with spamming one hold moves on your ally, but it's not the standard choice by any means. On to gear. A lot of people run Whip on a fast charge Gazma to apply +3 speed to a digital Tem, but I think you run into some diminishing returns at that point, depending on the Tem. A lot of Tems will outspeed the metagame at +2, so +3 at the cost of Stam usually isn't worth it. I'd only run Whip Gazma if you're playing a Lowaddle cheese comp. For support Gazma, I'd instead recommend a defensive item like Double Screen or Rock Shield. Reactive Vial and Chamomile are good as well, especially if you're running Receptive, and utility items like Grease and Snare work pretty good too. I should also mention Slingshot as a viable defensive option on support Gazma. Everybody's playing Volphy and Amphitheater these days, so throwing out a Tesla Prison on them can lower their speed and net Gazma some really valuable bonuses. If you're playing a core Gazma, Hand Fan is pretty good to set up for massive tornadoes on turn 2. Fake Beard is great with the Receptive trait, and Drill is good to break through certain evasion shenanigans, like 0B10's Bush. And finally, let's talk about TV spreads. First, here's a build for support Gazma. With any Sparks support, you should make sure you're faster than any other special attacker on your team, so you can Sparks and attack on the same turn. 292 speed TVs reaches 170, which is a good starting point because 169 is a common breakpoint for a lot of special attackers. But definitely go faster if you're running faster special attackers on your team, or high priority special attackers. Gazma reaches 200 at max speed, which is plenty if you're running something like base speed Tolkien or Volphy and want to Sparks before their Fiery Soul and Plague respectively. 12 stamina TVs gives you 51, which lets you Sparks, Tornado, and Cage without overexerting. Overall, you don't need much stamina since the button you'll press most often is Sparks and Tesla Prism. 498 HP to maximize bulk, and 191 defense lets you survive a max damage Gyalis' Crystal Bite. You can reduce this investment down to 93 if you're running Double Screen, and down to a measly 3 if you're running Rock Shield. Just don't forget that 3, it just barely matters. And leftover TVs go into either speed or special defense, but even without any special defense investments, you can survive a Crystal Spikes no problem thanks to Gazma's high base special defense. That's our support Gazma build. Now, let's cover a special attacker Gazma, made to Sparks itself and destroy things with big electric storms and tornadoes. This is the build I personally play on my Zalbian team. It feels really nice catching opponents off guard with Gazma's surprisingly high damage potential. I'd still run 292 speed TVs to reach 170 speed. It's a nice speed tier and it gives you Sparks options for allies when you need it. 67 stamina TVs gives you enough stamina to work with. You're usually Sparksing on turn 1, and then you can either Electric Storm and Tornado, or you can Sparks Tornado, so you've got some options. If you're running Receptive and Fake Beard however, you can skip stamina entirely. 499 special attack TVs to maximize damage and scaling with self-Sparks buffs. And leftover TVs go into HP, with a value point in defense. With the TVs covered, here are some tips for playing Gazma. Remember that fast charge only occurs when the digital type enters the battle with Gazma already out, not the other way around. It would be really overpowered if you could give the +2 speed by switching Gazma in and attack on the same turn with your ally. It also applies if both Tems enter the battlefield at once. Sparks and Tesla Prison are often your only options turn 1. Sparks is usually higher value, but the speed reduction on Tesla Prison can let you outspeed and deal with the enemy's core Tems later in the game. So make sure you're planning ahead, and using it on the enemy's win condition if you think it will be necessary later on. And now, here are some good partners for Gazma. If you're running Fast Charge, there isn't a single digital Tem that wouldn't appreciate the +2 speed. I think the best recipients are Zalbian, Lowaddle, and Sinner Typer Electric Chromion. Zalbian is great because they can boost their attack with Heat Up and use the bonus speed to sweep the enemy team. Lowaddle uses the speed boost to sweep as well, by killing its allies and using Voodoo before the enemy can react. An Electric Chromion is also very good, able to fire off a super fast, massive damage Thunderstrike on turn 1. It's also worth noting the Going Away gift Tems are both digital, Hedgen and Chubby. Oh hey, we mentioned them at the start of the video. Nice foreshadowing. If you give either of these Tems a fast charge boost, you can give +2 speed to any Tem you want just by having them die. I actually have another video where I run into this strategy in a tournament. Give it a watch if you're curious. Other great partners for Gazma are any special attacker that can appreciate a Sparks buff. Gazma is only weak to Crystal, so Fire, Earth, and Melee Tems can help cover Gazma's weaknesses so it can survive and pass more buffs. Ideally, you run some Fire, Earth, and Melee special attackers to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. For Fire special attackers, Tolkien is great, especially if you speed stagger its Fiery Soul to be slower than Gozma's Sparks. Drakash also has some very threatening special fire moves once it gets some hold. For Earth special attackers, Volfi and Mudrid come to mind as really good meta-tems. Another to consider is Grumper, which has some added synergy with its Inductor trait, healing it whenever any tem uses an electric move, including Sparks. And there aren't really any melee special attackers right now, except Melee Chromion, but once the Arbory update comes out, maybe they'll release 1 or 2. Keep your eyes peeled because they should synergize pretty well with Gozma. And that's it for Gozma. They're a super versatile tem with a ton of things going for it. I hope you give them a try. Thanks for watching. My name is Blunk and I make Temtem content for YouTube. If you like this video, thanks! Stay tuned for more and have a nice day.